just gonna ramble because I'm rambling in my head anyway, so why the fuck not? And I don't know if my phone's gonna run out of storage, but it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna say what I've been saying in my head out loud. And that is that Western psychology, for the most part, I mean, it's changing, it's growing, and there have been individuals who influenced it, like Carl Jung, who got closer. They were moving closer to a more genuine and balanced view of existence. But for the most part, Western psychology is just fucked. It's just so backwards, and it's keeping us and encouraging us to stay in a state of disconnection, which could accurately be called, because this is what is referred to as hell. This state of disconnection from being, from the rest of existence, feeling ourselves as separate. Western psychology is created by the ego. It's created by the mind to try to understand mind, which means it's just going to further reinforce the narratives and the stories that the mind is telling about its separateness, about its unworthiness. And even when it's trying to contradict itself, it's not going to work, because you can't get out of the mind with the mind. You can't use the very tool to escape that tool with it. And it is madness. It's absolute insanity. And I was just pondering how very ordinary it is, especially in this country where I live, but in most of the Western world, it's just heightened here. This is ego-central. It is considered a normal way to live your life to be in constant anticipation of future events. This is considered normal. This is encouraged strongly, and any other mode of living is discouraged. And it is trained into us both positively and negatively. And it's trained into us by the mind. The mind will reward us with a flood of chemicals that create nice sensations, and it will punish us with a flood of chemicals that create not nice sensations. And we have built a society that functions the same way, of course, because it was built by mind. It functions the same way as the mind. And it, in every way, encourages and reinforces the narratives created by this mind self, the ego. And it is telling us never to be here now. We are never to be where we are. Of course, it's unclear whether the ego is actually aware of what it's doing, if it has an awareness that if we were to be here now, we would see through it, and therefore it would be its demise. It's unclear whether it actually knows that, or there's just this sense of doing that would be destructive to it, or this is just the way that it works. It's just obsessed with everywhere that isn't here. It is obsessed with everywhere that isn't here. And so we are taught from the first to always be seeking, to be constantly seeking and searching. And that means never satisfied. We are taught never to be satisfied. And that is hell. I mean, that's literally hell. That is like Dante's Inferno description of hell, to never be able to receive satisfaction, to be infinite in your experience and never satisfied. That is actually hell. us Western psychologists spoke to so many groups of indigenous people and posed these questions to them, these Western mind questions of, well, what do you want out of life? How do you plan for the future? Don't you worry about XYZ? And they were baffled and unable to answer us in a way that the Western mind could accept. Because a question like, what do you want out of life? To a person who is one with life, what the hell does that even mean? What are you trying to say? You are operating under some very confusing and just incorrect assumptions about existence. You're not seeing what is. You're not seeing. You are life. To want something out of life would seem to imply that life is something other than you. That life is something that you could get something out of, and there would be you, and there would be life, and there would be the thing that you got from it. And that's not possible, because that's not how it is. That's like asking the loom what it wants out of thread. Thread simply is, and will weave itself. And if there is anything, there's a desire for thread to weave. Sure, there's a desire for tapestry to form, but that just happens. That just happens. And there's nothing to be gotten from it. It is just for the creation of art. It's just the way that it is. There's nothing to be gotten. But Western psychologists hear answers like this, and then they think the people that they're talking to are stupid because, they don't understand. They don't know what we know. They don't understand, of course. They can't answer. They're blind. Their minds are incapable of grasping these big questions that we're putting to them. They're so sweet and innocent and backwards in their ways. And meanwhile, indigenous people saw exactly what was happening, saw quite clearly, these people are nuts. These people are sick. They are diseased. They have a disease of the mind that is confusing them about reality. And nothing that we say is getting through to them because they're so deep in their paranoid delusion that there's no reaching them. And they saw that we were seeking. They saw there was something hungry in us that they identified correctly as what could be called the spirit of the Wendigo in certain Native American traditions. The hungry one, the insatiable one, the Wendigo spirit is that which eats and eats and eats. It's cursed. It's cursed to never be full. The curse of the Wendigo is to never be full. And so it just goes more and more insane in its inability to find satiation, in its continuously growing hunger. And then we have people in Western society encouraging each other with phrases like, stay hungry. Keep moving, carry on. Keep hustling, keep the hustle, the strive, the drive, the motivation. Never be satisfied. And we've turned that into a positive, into a virtue. The curse of insatiable hunger, we have decided, is what makes us great. Because look at all the things that we do when we are these bottomless pits. But of course, if you are a bottomless pit, you're always looking for the next experience because you're never with a single one. You're never with a single one. See, this is what is so crazy and twisted, and why heaven and hell are the same, experienced differently, because you are a channel. We are these infinite channels. We are passageways. The bottomless pit is not such an incorrect visual. It's just, you can feel the desperation and the desolation in that version, as opposed to a channel that is always full. You are either always full or you are always empty. Of course, even the perception of always emptiness is a passageway into recognizing your fullness, because you are always something. And then you start having questions about what is empty, and you realize that you are always full of empty, and maybe empty isn't so empty after all. But to be perceiving yourself as continuously empty so that nothing is ever actually touching you. Can you feel how that feels very different from being always full, always satiated? Not overfull, not sick to my stomach, ooh, I had too much, just the right amount. Always full. And when, in fact, there is hunger, the hunger is a part of the experience. The hunger is filling me. I'm now filled with a hunger, but it's not an emptiness. It's not something that is missing. It's not a lack of food. It's the fullness of hunger. It's the presence of hunger. And when the food comes, and I know that it will, there's never a question, there's never a doubt of that, then I experience a different kind of fullness. That I'm satiated in this other way, but I'm always satiated. There is always something filling me. I'm never lacking, I'm never longing, I'm never missing something. There is always something filling me, flowing through, moving through, and there's always more. I get to experience more. So again, it's like, it's just twisted. Hell is just this twisted misunderstanding of the truth of reality that is called heaven when it's tapped into and perceived accurately. And so experience is always either torture or bliss, depending on how it's being perceived, depending on which standpoint we are taking. But of course, this other great irony is that you must be empty to be full, to be filled. You must be aware of the emptiness of yourself. You must not be adding anything to you to allow the fullness of experience to continuously flow through you. You must stay open. You must stay a channel. Whereas the pit is always trying to fill itself. It's trying to add. It's trying to accumulate. Because it misunderstands empty. Again, it sees it as missing, not open. It is perceiving emptiness as missing something, not open to receiving. They are the same, just viewed a little differently. And if you are consistently open to receiving, then there will be this constant flow of experience, and you will never worry about the future. You will know that things are continuously coming to you, and so you will have a sense of well-being that is rooted in the present instead of some future time. And you will be open to the continuous flow of experience and constantly receiving it and knowing that, yes, there is more good stuff, but your eyes don't need to be over there. They can always be right here, but you don't need to be searching. You don't need to be looking ahead. It's all coming. You can just be, and you can be really fully, truly right here, open to the experience of this present moment, not needing it to change. Very different in sensation from constantly looking to the future and never actually here and never actually receiving. And so feeling forever empty, feeling forever lacking, forever missing, and looking over and over to some future moment to sustain you, to finally fulfill you. And you're just sustained on this tiny thread of hope that some future moment will finally fulfill you. And it never happens, because the only moment that can fulfill you is the one that is here. And it can only do that if you stop closing to it by focusing into the future, and you just empty of hope for another moment. You empty of all the description and the definition, and in your pouring out of that cup, it's refilled with the fullness of what is. Anyway, I gotta go inside. I just see the mind. I see the mind reaching again for this space, and it can happen so quickly and so easily, and it's what we're trained into again, and it's what the mind does. The mind is perfectly insane. It's not a problem. It's just the way that it is. But seeing it over and over again, the way that it contorts, it twists. Wow, there are a lot of grasshoppers. I just realized there are like 4 of them in front of me. It twists the state of openness and the forever receiving of constant, continuous fulfillment into a state of empty, of void, devoid. Because the void can be full, right? But if empty is, if it's being used to define it, then the empty is actually, the feeling of empty is actually blocking, because of the perception of it. It's actually blocking anything else from entering here. It's an interesting and subtle distinction. Are you so empty that nothing is getting in? Or are you aware that actually you are full right now, and you have been so obsessed with defining this fullness as emptiness that you are missing the nuance of it? What actually is this? Is this actually what you think it is? Is this, you're feeling something. So you're not empty, and yet in accepting that you are feeling something, that something is flowing through you, you gain this awareness of your hollowness, of you, the nature of your being as space, and not that which is not like this solid thing. You are, something is flowing through you. So you are the space into which everything is flowing, and now suddenly everything is flowing through you at once. You're not missing anything. And you don't need to look anywhere if you're not missing anything. It's all right here happening through you. Anyway, it's a profound challenge, particularly in Western society, because everything is set up in opposition to this. But that doesn't mean it's not possible. And I this is what life wants right now, is not for us to run from anything, but to, again, recognize we can be right here. We can be in the midst of all of this doing, this constant schedule of doing that we've created for ourselves. We can, over and over and over, get in touch with being and allow the happening to just happen. Just allow the happening through, and then we're not like exerting so much effort in the doing. It's just happening. Work is happening, travel is happening, communication is happening, whatever. It's all just happening. It's not a directly efforted action. It's just flowing through, and that's great. So, I love you.